Hi everyone, what's up? Welcome to Show It Better. In this video, we're going to see how we created this awesome illustration using SketchUp and Photoshop. I'm going to show you guys something that I don't show very often in our videos. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so in this video, it's kind of different because it's not of a step-by-step tutorial. It's more of me recording a screen and seeing what happens. So it's kind of improvised and, not a step-by-step process. You guys are going to see, the many places I go when I try to explore how to make an image. And in this specific case, I exported this image from SketchUp into Photoshop and wanted to see what would happen if I would just try different styles. And well, this is kind of it, right? So let's start. So I in SketchUp I put the image in parallel projection mode, and I also erased all the edges and all the section lines, right? So this step is very important because it makes the image have a more of an illustration look and not so much of a architectural drawing look. So once you remove all the edges from a drawing, it has more the feeling of an illustration. So I imported this into Illustrator as a PDF file, as a a high size PDF file to see what would happen. And well, nothing, not really much happened in Illustrator. Illustrator is kind of not my forte, but I was just trying to refine edges and completing some things that weren't in the SketchUp model. I recommend you guys pause this video a lot of times, or if you want to slow down the video, that's valid as well. You guys maybe are going to see many interesting steps that maybe are not explained, but sometimes when you see the video once and again and again, you're going to start to see those little tips. Okay. So once I finished, modifying this image in Illustrator, I imported it into Photoshop. And well, the idea was more to have a look to see if I can make a very Kuzark post-digital style Axonometric section drawing. But I didn't have a clear path, right? So I know I wanted to import a grunge texture and import some trees and give the grass some texture, give the context some texture, and unify the colors, right? So that was the main goal. So as soon as I had this image, I imported, I created a new layer and filled it with a white background and went to Google to look for a paper texture, right? So a paper grungish texture that could go over all the drawing, and I can set it to multiply mode and see what kind of a character, what kind of life the image got. So as soon as I imported it, I sized the image up and also desaturated it. You can desaturate an image in a very quick way by pressing Control Shift U. That is going to make the image black and white, right? So as soon as I had this, you could see the image had a lot more texture to it. And then I wanted to make the section cut specifically stand out much more from the rest of the drawing. So what I'm doing right now is just with a polygonal lasso tool, I'm just selecting everything of the section cut, right? So this is the structure, the floor slabs, and the walls, right? And I'm going to later create a new layer and fill all the selection with white, right? So there's a difference between the white that you see in the section cut and the white that is in the background of the image, in the white space. So as you guys can see the difference when I fill in the section cut white and the background in a kind of an off-white color. Also, I'm trying to see what texture works to make this grunge feeling a little bit more strong, but not so strong that it takes all of the protagonism and it looks just too textured, right? So there's a balance that you have to make between when you import those grunge textures, right? And I think, I think this grunge texture is kind of good. This paper, kind of old paper texture. And as you guys can see, like the image right now has a very interesting look. For some, for some occasions, I would have just finished right here and exported the image into my presentation board. This is not, I wanted to keep on exploring to see what other results I could get. But, for many, this could be the result and it could be fine as well. I think it looks good. But I think it had a little bit more of a potential by adding some trees, by adding texture to the trees. So one method I tried to implement was trying to add some of the native Photoshop textures in the tree parts, right? So if you guys go to your layer and go to your blending options, you're going to see that you can replace your image with a texture, and there are different types of textures. There are grids, there are just lines, and there are rock textures, there are nature textures. There are very different types of textures, and I just wanted to see with a more of a nature texture how the image could look, right? So I imported also, I painted some trees with the free brushes that you guys can get. There's a link in the description for those brushes. Remember, I think most of all of you have them by now. And I just, painted these trees and tried to also again, see what texture could look better with the trees. Also, I was trying to see if maybe a drop shadow to the trees and to the building would look kind of interesting. So I isolated the building from the rest of the image by using a polygonal lasso tool and just pressing Ctrl J on the layer that the image was on, right? So after I isolated the house from the rest of the context, I went to my blending options and added a drop shadow. So this was going to make the building look more of a paper style, right? So if as you guys can see right here, it looks kind of like levitating the image from the original paper. And then again, I found myself, that this looks kind of interesting as well, with no background, just the house and the trees. It's a valid style too, and I think it would look kind of interesting as well. So like in this process, I found myself with different types of images that I would have liked, but I still kept on exploring to see if there was something else. I wanted to see if maybe sometimes there's an accident and things can happen, and I was trying to color the sections, make the section a different texture, and to see if something happened. I wasn't quite convinced with it yet, but I think it was going on a good path. And after that, I thought of maybe adjusting the color of the trees that also had a lot of protagonism to one of the main colors of the house, right? So there was a bluish color in the house, and I was like, so let's make the trees blue. So maybe that could be the main thematic, right? And just making all the greens and all the colors just a little bit less protagonists. So again, like many of the methods, many of the tools, many of the things I'm using in this video, I've already explained in my past video. So I really recommend you guys go back to those videos and see the specific steps of a technique. But this video uses many techniques I've already explained in the past, and so I'm just trying to make a video that resumes it all and makes it a little bit easier to understand. So as you guys can see, as I'm changing the color of the trees and the tree barks look a little bit white, it kind of looks much more interesting and much more in context with the image. And I'm starting to like more and more this bluish color and the white that the white space has. So as I'm doing this, I'm adding a shadow because I think it would look interesting to add, a shadow to one of these buildings. So I just created a polygonal lasso tool and put it in the back of the whole building. And I was like, let's put it below the trees as well. And as I put it below the trees, there was this effect that was created, like it was a monochromatic blue color. And I was like, dude, this is the image that I was looking for. And basically that's the way it happened. That's the way the image came about. There wasn't a specific process. In the future I will know how to make the image, but many of the things you guys will learn when creating an image, when creating a diagram, a plan, or maybe designing your architecture as well, is that many of the things happen by mistake. So I recommend you guys watch this video over again and again, and get some of the techniques that I used in this video. In the end, it's not that hard to achieve the results. You just have to import it into Photoshop and colorize everything with a blue color. All the techniques are the same ones we have used in our previous video, so I really recommend you guys visit those if you forget a specific technique. And yeah, I think what would you guys like to see in the future? Comment down below. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.